South Ellen. New week, new summertime snacks, variation on the theme of last week. Last week we made like a thick kind of edible cookie dough sort of situation. We did a brownie batter one, so it's chocolatey, and then a monster cookie one with peanut butter and M&Ms and chocolate chips. Same kind of idea this week, but way lighter and fluffier and more of like a proper like fruit dip. The ones from last week really are kind of spoonified, kind of eat it like ice cream almost. Grabbing my spatula. The first dip of the week. I'm making one today, one tomorrow, and one the next day. This first one is in honor of my best friend Anne's younger son and his favorite sandwich that he used to love, he may still love to eat, when he was a little kid. He's over 6 feet tall now, he's not so little. And that is Fluffernutter. Fluffernutter is apparently a huge, huge thing on the East Coast, specifically in Rhode Island where they live. It's not that big a deal here, but there are, like, people do like enjoy it. And I love it. And so I'm going to show you guys how to make a really, really quick Fluffernutter dip. I've got my hand blender, my mixer again. So you'll need that. Really, really easy recipe. So I've got 8 ounces of cream cheese that has been softened to room temperature. This is just the whole brick out of the paper, if I can get it open. Good Lord in heaven. And again, you don't want the stuff in the tub that is pre-whipped, because you're gonna whip it again, and that is actually less cream cheese than if you make this way. I'm gonna use my spatula to get every last little bitty bit of cream cheese out of here, and into the bowl she goes. I'm gonna use this to get that stuff off of here, because the first thing that we're gonna do is whip this cream cheese until it's light and fluffy. It'll take about a minute. So let me go do that, and I'll be back in about a minute and show you what that's about. All right. So I've got my bowl full of whippy cream cheese. And the next thing I'm gonna add in is, and again with the cream cheese, by the way, I didn't mention this before, reduced fat. I would not ever use fat-free cream cheese. That stuff is made of who even knows what. Or Neufchâtel cheese. It's basically the same thing. So you've got your whippy cream cheese, and into this we're gonna add in an entire jar of marshmallow fluff. This is a 7-ounce jar, and you want the whole thing. If you have a larger jar of fluff, like if you live in a world where you buy marshmallow fluff by the large jar, first of all, I applaud you, ma'am or gentleman, because, ma'am or sir, because that is not the worst way to live, unless you're diabetic, when that's probably not a great way to live. But this is just a 7-ounce jar of marshmallow fluff. Doesn't matter if it's Marshmallow Fluff brand. It's all the same stuff. Add this in to the cream cheese mixture. And the thing with this is that you're not going to want to use the mixer that much. Like, you're just gonna want to combine this just barely, because you don't want to lose, kind of like using egg whites or making meringue, you don't want to lose any of that like super airy, light texture of the marshmallow fluff. You don't want to like bust it down and make it all like not fluffy. Fluff should be fluffy. Pro tip, my friends. So you get the fluff off of here, and then make sure to wash that in like the hottest water that you can possibly stand, because it's really sticky and it's gonna want to stick to your spatula. So I'm just kind of folding this in, and if you have never heard that term before, or if you watch the show Schitt's Creek and you still don't understand what folding something in means, Moira and David did not explain it very well. You are taking your spatula and dragging it underneath the thing and kind of putting it on top. So folding it like so. Folding that in. Make sure it's pretty well distributed so there aren't any big hunks of like just fluff or just cream cheese in your mixture. And then there's just one more ingredient, and that is a half cup of peanut butter. For Fluffernutter, you want to have creamy peanut butter. That is how the Fluffernutter sandwich is traditionally made. That's always how Nate made them. Probably how he still makes them if he's still enjoying them. Crunchy peanut butter is good for some things. Fluffernutter, not on the list. So, got a half a cup that I brought from home. And in goes the peanut butter into the bowl. And those are the only 3 ingredients. A brick of cream cheese, a jar of fluff, and a half a cup of peanut butter. And I'm going to do the same thing with the peanut butter that I did. I just stir it around with my spatula. I don't really need my mixers anymore. And I'm being really careful not to overmix it so that it loses that really fluffy, airy texture. And that's it. That's all you do for Fluffernutter Dip. And this is, like, it's delicious with a spoon. It's delicious on a sandwich. But it also is great with graham crackers or Nilla wafers or sturdier fruit. You'll want to, if you're not going to eat it all, just with a spoon out of the bowl right now, like I'm kind of tempted to do, not gonna lie. This should go into the fridge where it'll keep for probably a week. If you're gonna use it for dip, if you're gonna make it ahead for something and use it for a dip, you wanna make sure that it thaws down to room temperature, and then you just give it a quick stir again before you serve it. And so that is Fluffernutter Dip. Dip number 1 for the week. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll show you another new one, just as easy as this, nothing more fancy that we're doing. So I'll see you in a week, South Holland. All right, I'm back. It is number 2 of 3 for, which, there's the camera, for our fruit dips for the week. And so I am inspired by a break and bake cookie dough product that I saw at the grocery to make a snickerdoodle dip. Snickerdoodles are awesome cookies. They're essentially like a cinnamon sugar cookie. So if you like that really kind of warm autumnal kind of thing, this dip would be fantastic with apples or with pears or any kind of like I'm sure it would be good with berries too, of course, but like when I think about this snickerdoodle dip, I'm thinking about apple slices. So let me put my mask on and I'll readjust you so that you can see what I'm doing. Again, this is a 5-minute thing. You don't need anything fancy for it. You just need a bowl and a beater. So the first thing that's gonna go into our bowl is a 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar. So you can kind of see, I brought this from home. I really should get brown sugar for here. You can kind of see how it used to be in the shape of the measuring cup. You don't want to just, into your brown sugar, like scoop and like level it off across the top and dump it in. For this, it's telling you to pack it down. And brown sugar, you can pack it down like that because there is molasses in it, and that's how that works. It's sticky and you can do it. The next thing you need is a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And this is one of those things where you can just scoop in, kind of shake it to even it out. There you go with that. If you notice that there are any like big clumps of sugar, can kind of smush those right now. And then you need 2 tablespoons of soft butter. So unsalted, like always. You can see that it's 2 tablespoons big. So let me put that in there. Throw away the butter wrapper. And I am going to mix this with my mixer. It won't take long at all to get it just until it's combined and kind of smoothed out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in my bowl and I'm going to turn it on low so that the powder doesn't fly up in my face. Obviously, there's still a big old knob of butter. Not a big deal. We got more ingredients to add in. I'm going to take the back of a spoon. I'm going to smush up some of these big clumps of brown sugar. The next thing I'm going to add in is 6 ounces of softened cream cheese. Again, in a brick. It's soft to the touch. And you can see how the brick of cream cheese has the ounce markers on it. So that's just what I went by. Why would the cream cheese company lie to me about how much cream cheese I was eating? That's how they get you. That's how big cream cheese is coming for you. All right, so I got this cream cheese. I need a 1/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt. And here's the thing about the yogurt. This happens to be 0 fat. It doesn't matter, whatever. If you want full fat, that's cool. If you want low fat, that's cool. But here's why it needs to be Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt has less liquid in it than like regular, if you just bought like a canister of like Dannon yogurt. Greek yogurt has less water, so it's a little bit denser than regular yogurt. It's a little bit, the consistency is more like a sour cream than like a loose kind of creamy yogurt.
And so I'm going to put that 1/4 cup of yogurt in my bowl. And then I'll just eat the rest of the yogurt in like a smoothie, or I'll use it just all by itself. Vanilla yogurt is good for dipping berries into, or slices of kiwi fruit. So there's that. Then I have my 1/4 teaspoon measure. I'm going to use 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And this is what makes it really snickerdoodle-ish. Brown sugar does, but the cinnamon does as well. And then I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Boom. And if you go a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon, that's fine. It just meant it was supposed to be that way. Again, I started on low so that all these powdery ingredients don't make a huge mess. But that's it. All right. I'm going to turn it up a little bit higher and get it a little bit whippier. You can sort of see how the color is lightening. And every 30 seconds or so, I'm just kicking it up to a higher speed for my dip. Just like yesterday, I'm going to fold in, like I'm going to scrape down the sides, make sure that everything that got stuck to the sides is incorporated. And I'm just going to give it a quick stir from the bottom and then across the top, across the bottom and across the top. And that is my snickerdoodle dip. That would be great, like I said, with apples or pears or graham crackers, or anything kind of autumnal is how I think it would be fantastic. If you can eat this right away, you can also cover it and throw it in the fridge until you are ready to eat it. Depending on how long it's in there, you might want to let it sit out at room temperature so that it's a little bit more, like the consistency is a little creamier and more dippable and less like cookie dough or something really kind of tight and dense like that. Tomorrow I'll be back with one last sweet dip, and then I promise South Holland something savory next week. I'm thinking about soup, but a summer soup. So I hope you're into that idea. Next week, tomorrow, no bake cheesecake dip. Hey, cheesecake fans out there. So I'll see you in 24 hours, South Holland. All right, my friends, last recipe of the week. It's another 5-minute sweet kind of fruit dip recipe. This one is a riff on that Jell-O pudding box no-bake cheesecake recipe that you guys have probably had before somewhere. It's great. Sometimes you don't have a crust, but you want cheesecake anyway, because when do we not want cheesecake? I mean, seriously. This will scratch that itch, and it comes together with 4 ingredients and in 5 minutes. So let's mask up before I cook things that other people are going to eat. And I've got my bowl and all of my stuff. So the first thing I need is 4 ounces of cream cheese. And if you've been paying attention, you've noticed that I haven't used full bricks of cream cheese. in the recipes previously, so I just have like the little ends. So here is 2 ounces of leftover cream cheese from one recipe, and here's 2 ounces of leftover cream cheese from a different recipe. 2 plus 2 is 4, and so here's all of my softened to room temperature cream cheese. And all of you guys go into the trash. It's softened to room temperature so that when I get my mixer going, it actually comes together quickly and easily. Cheesecake flavored instant pudding. This happens to be sugar-free. So this one is relatively diabetic friendly, Mom. If you need that, you can use the sugar-free stuff. If not, the regular sugar-full stuff is fine. But if you want it to taste like cheesecake, you gotta get the cheesecake flavor. And so we dump that pudding mix into our bowl. Get our whisk on. And get this combined barely. Again, there's loose powder in here, so I'm starting on a really low speed so that it doesn't all fly up in my face. Using a bowl that is a little bit deep helps with that too. See what I mean about it kind of flying up everywhere? All right. You'll notice at this point it's combined, but it's not a really creamy texture. There's still big lumps of cream cheese, and that's okay. The next thing that we're gonna add is gonna help with that. And we're adding an entire container of vanilla yogurt. This happens to be Greek yogurt. If you just have regular non-Greek yogurt, that's fine. It doesn't super matter for this recipe whether you use Greek or non-Greek yogurt. But you need a cup of it, and that's basically what this is, a whole container of vanilla flavored yogurt. If you don't have vanilla yogurt, if you have plain yogurt, that's fine. You can use that and then just add in a little bit more vanilla extract than the recipe calls for. It will still taste good. All right, so I've got my entire container of vanilla yogurt in there. And then the last ingredient is optional, but man, if it makes it more delicious, why am I gonna mess with that? It's a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm going to measure that out. Because my yogurt was vanilla yogurt, I'm only adding in that half teaspoon. If I was using plain yogurt, I might add maybe another 1/4 teaspoon to my bowl. But I don't want to add too much because though delicious, we don't want our cheesecake to taste just like straight up vanilla frosting. We want it to still taste like cheesecake. So a little vanilla is good, but too much is just too much in this instance. So I go back in with my mixer. And this guy is, there's more liquid, there's more creaminess, so it's coming together a lot better. And I'm just mixing that together a little bit faster every, say, 30 seconds or so to get it really well incorporated. and really creamy. And you can see, hopefully, how the texture is changing. And that's what I'm going for, just a really smooth texture where that solid cream cheese that I started with is now fully incorporated into the creaminess of this dip. I'm hitting my beaters against the side to get every little last morsel out. I'm gonna go back in with my spatula and finish this by hand. And just give it one last kind of stir and make sure that there are no lumps. And there is my dip. Like, clearly this is far denser than like a cream cheese filling, but you wouldn't put this in a pie shell and solidify it. You're eating this with, like, you're dipping berries or slices of kiwi fruit or something like that into this. And those are our 3 fruit dips. We did a Fluffernutter Dip in honor of my guy Nate, who graduated from 8th grade this week. We did a snickerdoodle dip yesterday that has all of the flavors of autumn, but it's the middle of June. And then today was a cheesecake dip. I promised something savory and actually kind of a meal next week. Until then, enjoy. Let me know how it went. And I'll see you next week. Have a good one, South Holland.